Hey everybody, this is Travis. I just wanted to let you know we had a video that we were going to make that was rules and a gameplay video. We came up with a different way to do the rules video, but we didn't want to waste the footage that we did have. So here's a little teaser. It is a little rules heavy, so perhaps a little slow, but it does show off components, most of them prototype, and gameplay. So it's a little teaser video. I hope you enjoy it. Please follow us on Facebook, comment, like, share, and we'll get information out to you as it comes available. Thank you.
Setup for Discover the Way is fairly simple. First, each player is going to pick a color. For this, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to be pink and Ben will be red. Next, we build the map. For this, it is extremely customizable how you want to do it. The first thing you need to pay attention to is the orientation of the board. We want all the boards to have the same connections on the same sides. This allows for all boards to connect in almost any orientation. We could slide them together and we could build our map. For our example, we will go ahead and do a 2-player setup using only 2 boards connected together like so. This is extremely customizable as before on just the board layout, but you can also customize how you set up the water and bridges and other things like this. We have several standard arrangements for each board type of 2, 3, and 4-player games. For this, we will do a standard 2-player setup, and that is simply just the water in between the 2 tiles with a single bridge that's going to connect the 2 boards together. Then you simply add your players to the board. All it consists of is your stronghold in one position. We typically go in the corners or on the edge somewhere, and a level 1 soldier.
Which means no shield.
Next we have our dice. These dice are customizable, as in the faces can be removed and changed. In a standard setup, the starting dice has 3 walkabouts represented by white, 1 gold represented by gold, 1 wood by brown, and 1 stone by gray. For a 4-player game, you would use all the dice, each player getting 3 standard setup dice and 2 bonus dice that can be drafted later by any player. In a 2-player game, we only need these 2 rows and of course our golden dice. The rest of the dice can be returned to the box. The other things that you'll need off to the side: more dice faces for when we upgrade our dice later, gold discoveries, wood discoveries, and stone discoveries. You will also need pathway walking tiles and gold tiles to keep track of your gold count. Then we need to seed our bags. Now, each player, the amount of players determines the amount of tiles that goes in each bag. For the small, each player will bring along 3 of the small stone, 3 of the small wood, and 1 of each of the small gold. For 2 players, this is what we're looking at for our small discoveries bag. For the large discoveries, in a 1 or 2-player game, you will have this setup: 1 of each type for each stone, wood, and gold. In a 3 or 4-player game, you will use all the stone and wood and gold, or 2 of each type. So for this, we're going to use our black bag for our large discoveries, and we will be using our red bag here for all of the small discoveries. Make sure to give them each a good shuffle before drawing. To place the relics, which is the objective of the game, you simply take your opponent's relics. So I'm going to take 2 of his. I'm going to go ahead and give him 2 of mine. You choose one and you roll percentile dice. Percentile dice is a 10-sided die that has 1 in single digits and 1 in double digits. So you roll the percentile die, and you starting from the center or from the back corner of your stronghold, the left is single digits, where right would be double digits, and 0 is the beginning. So for this, I rolled a 7 and a 20 or 2. So starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then 0, 1, 2. Where they intersect is where the relic is. I do it again for as many relics as I'm placing. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was where the second relic would go. Then he would do the same.
There you go.
And for the purposes of this game, we are going to just use 1 relic and not 2. But you can use as many relics as you would like. The 1 relic that we're doing is going to speed up the game for us. So if you want a longer game, then use more relics. And if you want a shorter game, then use less relics. So we'll go ahead and we will remove our second one of each. Then you simply start the game. So you choose who goes first. And you can do that in any way you feel free. You can go ahead and randomize it, draw straws, whoever's the tallest or youngest, I don't care. For this, I'm going to go ahead and go first. On your turn, you roll your dice. Then the dice tell you what you can do. Any dice that you roll, whether it's gold, stone, or wood, can be used as just movement. The white, however, that I rolled can only be used for movement. Now, if you happen to roll 3 white or walkabouts, then you could, as I can right now, change my 3 for a chance at the golden die. The golden die has 3 blanks and 3 golds, with one of them being a double. This is a gamble, because if I roll the blank, it is not a walkabout. Instead, I don't get to move at all. It's basically 3 dice wasted. But I could get gold. I think I'm going to skip that for this, and we'll go right ahead into moving. So I'm going to go ahead and empty out some movement tiles on the board so that we can both use it. And I'm going to start moving towards my objective. I want that relic. He wants this one. I'm going to go ahead, start walking forward. 3 spaces. Now you'll notice each of these tiles has a gray side and a tan side. The tan represents dirt. When you first start walking, you start forming these dirt paths. Later, we will show you that you can upgrade these dirt paths into stone, and that will allow you to move quicker. And stone is on the gray side. So when you upgrade, you simply flip the tile over. But that is my turn.
Now I go. I received 1 gold and 2 movement. Now in the beginning of the game, a strategy that you could take is, it's pretty nice to get gold in the beginning of the game. And so it makes the game a little bit easier on you if you start collecting it earlier. Now I'm going to use my 2 movement. And just like Travis did, I'm going to go ahead and move towards my objective.
Now, gold is the only resource that you can actually bank. We have these gold tiles. We are looking into possibly either coins or a counter of some sort to keep track of the gold for you. But for this, we are using these tiles. And that's his turn. As you can see, turns are actually really quick. And if everybody's paying attention, then we can start moving along really quickly. So, I can't bank the stone that I just rolled, and I have 2 walks. The stone, as I said earlier, you can always turn everything into a walk. Since I can't bank it, I'm going to go ahead and just keep moving. Move my 3 spaces.
So it's my turn again. As I duplicate. I got 3 movement as well.
Now, why are we choosing the paths that we're walking? Well, we're trying to get to the bridge. For one, you have to cross the bridge in order to get to your relic. But there's also defensive things to keep in mind. So, I don't want to make my path right next to his relic because he can walk on my path. So if I make mine right next to his relic, he can just get closer to his relic. I roll the gold. I will take the gold. And then I roll the walk and a wood. Wood by itself is not good for anything either. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that into movement and then use my other movement. All right.
This is where it gets interesting, people. So, since I've banked my 1 gold, in order to gain a guy or a soldier, you have to pay a stone, which I have, a wood, which I have, and then I also have a banked gold. So I'm going to go ahead and use these 3 resources to place another level 1 guy right on my base. Now keep in mind I still have this 1 movement, so as Travis was stating before, once you have your dirt path down, you move a little quicker. So instead of taking just 1 movement, you take 2 and skip a tile.
Well, that's only down an already placed path. Now, he doesn't have to follow this path. His soldier can go on his own way, but as you're forging the path, you're using 1 movement for 1 space. On dirt, you use 2 movement, or 2 spaces for 1 movement. And when we get to stone, which the bridge you can see is made out of stone, you can move 3 spaces for 1 movement. Now I have an interesting choice here. I rolled 2 wood and a stone. Now, I could do what he did, and I could spend my 1 gold, 1 wood, and 1 stone, and get another level 1 soldier. Or I could trade in my 2 wood and get a gold. You can always trade 2 of the same resource for a gold. Or if you're missing a resource, you can spend 2 gold and get 1 resource. It's usually better to roll the resource than it is to do these trades, but it's always nice to have the trade option available. I think I'm going to go ahead and get a soldier like he did, because I don't want him to have more men than I do. And then I'll turn this other wood into a movement, and I think I'll copy him.
All right, so I've got 2 stone and a movement. Well, as you go further, you'll notice that there's a lot more options. So this can be turned into, obviously I could get a gold from this, or I could turn it into 3 movement and create more of the board. In this particular case, I think I'm going to go ahead and just turn them both into movement, both stone. So I'm going to go ahead and continue creating my path to keep up with my opponent.
And 1 stone, 2 movement, as we have seen, it is basically movement. So I'm going to go ahead and use my 2 movement to get up to the bridge. Now I have 1 more movement, and I have a choice. I could try to cross the bridge. Now, in order to cross this center line, whenever you move to another person's board, you have to pay a gold as part of your movement. Meaning I would spend a movement to move, and then once I cross that center threshold, I would pay a gold. Well, I don't currently have a gold, but I do have another soldier here, so I'm going to use my movement to move my other soldier up.
Okay. I've got a gold, a wood, and a movement. So I'm going to go ahead and take that gold, and I'm going to go ahead and use this wood as a movement, and use my movement as a movement.
And now we're staring down at each other. So I got 3. Now for this instance, I could move my other soldier, move him closer, but I need gold. I'm not getting anywhere without gold. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take a chance at the golden die. Now this is a gamble because I might end up with nothing, but let's see what I get. I got nothing. So I can't use this as movement. It's just I get nothing, and that's my turn.
All right, here we go. So it looks like I got a gold, a wood, and a movement. Gonna go ahead and take the gold initially. But then I'm gonna go ahead and use these 2 movement, actually. I'm gonna start actually creating a different path with my secondary guy.
Okay. And here I go again. So it's very useful if you start rolling gold like somebody, but sometimes you get stuck with nothing. And again, I need gold to cross this bridge. So I'm going to go ahead and take another chance at this. Oh, still nothing. So here I am picking my nose.
All right, so I got a wood and 2 movement. We'll go ahead and move on to the cobblestone. Now, I can move along this cobblestone line. I just can't go over it without paying a gold. So as you move on to cobblestone, or should I say as you move on to the new ground, those rules take place. So I would move faster while moving on to cobblestone. But in this particular case, it doesn't really matter because there's not another square to move to.
Right.
So that was 1 movement.
So the way that it works is it's the tile that you're stepping onto. So if my first step is going to be on the stone, then I can move 3 squares for 1 movement. However, if I was back here, my first step is on dirt, I can still only move 2 squares. So I would be able to, from here, go 1, 2, and I would be done. But if I was here, I could go 1, 2, 3. That's just how the movement works. It's what you're stepping onto, not like you can't. It's not 1, 2, oh, now I'm on stone, so I can go 3. No, it's your first initial step.
I'm going to go ahead and actually spend my 2 gold before using these dice. I'm going to spend these 2 gold, and I'm going to dig into the red bag for the small discoveries. The small discoveries cost 2 gold. The large discoveries are 4.
Do it on camera.
Oh. So, as you dig through the bag, every time you buy a discovery, you pull out 2 tiles. So I've got a stone. Whoop. I've got a stone here. Ooh, I got my gold. I got a gold. All right, we're going to go with the gold. Now, when you choose your discovery, you remove it from the bag, returning the second one, or whichever one you choose not to get, back into the bag to be redrawn later.
But the one that you chose stays out. Then he gets his gold. That is from our gold discovery bag.
You'll notice how these have 3 squares. We've designed the game to where we have the identical 3 squares, and they kind of match with iconography. So I can put it anywhere my guys are in parallel. So at this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and place it just like so, creating a permanent block just in this area. So they work in 2 different ways. You create a permanent wall, and then you also, because the discovery is done, you dig into this modifying bag, and you pull out, since it was a small discovery, a gold tile that goes on the end of the
Gold die face.
Yeah, gold die face. And then you simply replace one of the walkabouts on 1 dice. for free.
Now, you could replace any die face that you want. However, the one that you are removing is removed from your dice completely. So it is suggested you use it on the walkabouts. But if you want to, say, pull out wood because you have too much, you can. Now, for this, he spent his 2 gold, so this is returned. He got his new die face. So now this die, oh, wrong die. This one has 2 gold faces on it, giving him higher chances of rolling gold.
There's only 2 walkabouts on it now.
And so as you make discoveries, which he just did a small discovery, you can see it upgrades your dice and it creates a wall, which can help him defend against me coming in. And then he still has 2 movement left.
So now I'm going to go ahead and use those 2 movement. 1, 2.
Now keep in mind, when adding the die face, we do it at the end of the turn, not during the turn, so we don't get things mixed up. It happens at the very end. The other thing about placing these discoveries, there are some rules. 1, you cannot place on anything that's already here. So if there's a pathway tile, you cannot place your discovery crossing the pathway tile. You cannot place a discovery crossing a relic or water tiles. Anything that's already placed on the board, you cannot cross. Now, the other thing is it has to be where your guy is. So you'll notice he was here, and it has to be orthogonally adjacent to your guy. So he could only place it in this spot, or, because of his guy over here, this spot. So when he placed it here, that was legal, and then he moved his guy to movement. Had he moved the guy first, he wouldn't have been able to place it in this space. Now we're to me. Go ahead and roll, and things aren't looking good for me, folks. So I'll go ahead and I'll start moving up this way.
Take my 1 gold.
And that gold's already paying off for him.
Yes, it is. And then I'll use those as just straight up movement.
That's okay, because I'm going to roll a full soldier right here. Oh! I'll just take the 3 gold. Never mind.
And that's how easily your luck can change. Well, there's a good combative roll for you.
So he could roll the golden dice because he rolled 3 walks, or he could just use them for movement.
All right, folks. So here we're going to go ahead and head on into his land. So I'm going to pay my gold and a movement, because you have to have your movement. So you got your gold to cross this center threshold here. So because I'm moving on to cobblestone, I can move 3 spaces, even though I'm then moving on to dirt. This is still my original tile I'm moving on to. So the way this turn works, using 1 movement and a gold, 1, 2, 3 for 1 dice.
Now keep in mind, he would not have been able to go in a different direction, going 1, 2, and then 3, thus creating it or just forging a path. He would have to stop short and then use a full movement to create this path. But since he's going along an already created path, he can do that 1, 2, 3 and move the full length.
I'll go ahead and use my other 2 movement, creating tile paths. Though I think my opponent is just going to wipe me out on this one. There we go.
Unless I roll, 3 gold again.
Yeah, that could be.
All right. So I'm not going to wipe him out. What I am going to do instead is I'm going to spend these 2 stone, and I'm going to sell that for a gold. I am then going to use my movement to go 1, 2, and then I'm going to dig into the large discovery bag by spending all 4 gold. Now, he did the small discovery. It's 2 gold for small, 4 gold for large. So here I go into the big bag, and I'm hoping for gold as well. So let's see what I get first. I get a wood and I got my gold. And that's the exact
That is the
one
perfect one he
I was
needed.
hoping for. So this one goes back into the bag.
Nice job.
Now this, again, I have to keep, it's 5 in a straight row. Now the large discoveries clearly have more pieces. So I'm going to take up 5 in a straight row, and it has to be touching one of my guys. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just like that, you can see with my discovery, randomly pulling the one I needed out, I was able to create this wall. Now that's completely blocking his guy from sneaking around like he was trying to do. And now I'm forcing him to go down and around this path.
And you'll notice with a large discovery, he gets a cool X2.
I get a ×2. Now
Yep.
I used this and this already, so I'm going to go ahead. My turn is over. So at the end of my turn, I could add that. I simply slide this off, set it aside, and I take my ×2 and slide it on. And now if I roll this, I get 2 gold for 1 roll.
All right. Gonna take my stone, and I think I'm just gonna take up space. Use these 2 movement here. Take up space on his side of the board, having some fun. I guess. I don't know. 1, 2. Yeah.
And now I think his reign on my side is over. As I'm going to go ahead and attack him. Now, attacking is very simple in this game. There's no dice rolls for attack. It is simply level 1 soldiers have 1 health. And level 2 have 2. Now for this, I'm going to go ahead and run my guy into him. Now, I have 1 health. He has 1 health. We each deal 1 point of damage. Therefore, when I run my guy into him, my guy is destroyed and his guy is removed as well, leaving my 1 lonely guy. And I'm going to go ahead and, even though that was only 1 movement, I'm again out of gold and still standing at the bridge. So here I am standing at the bridge again without without using all of my dice. But I'm going to go ahead. That's the end of my turn.
All right. So I got pretty much 3 movement. I've got 1 stone and 2 walks. So we'll go ahead and play this game again. 1, and since I'm moving on to cobblestone, 1, 2, 3, paying my gold to cross. And then I'll use my 3rd dice just to move.
And I can't let this slide. How dare he come onto my board?
Again!
So I'm going to go ahead. I will use this movement to go 1, 2. This movement to run into him and removing both of our guys. Now we are out of people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stone that I rolled and I'm going to bank it. So I'm saving my stone. That means I'm not going to roll this, which is a gamble. I don't know necessarily that I would normally do that since it's got my ×2 on there. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do it for this example that we're doing here and save that. Meaning next time I'm only going to roll these 2.
I think you're just going easy on me.
Oh, if he only had a gold.
So folks, this is a terrible thing happening here. I just needed that gold that I used. Oh, man.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that. It got abruptly ended because we had to go. If you want to see more, if you want us to continue the game, let us know. Comment below. Comment on Facebook. Please share the videos and like them. And just kind of get the word spreading about this game. And thank you all for watching. Bye.